Welcome to the 2020 TMEA Etude presentation at UTRGV. This virtual clinic is presented by myself, Dr. William Haugeberg, and Dr. Pedro Martinez. Before I get started, here are some recent accomplishments within our trombone studio. We were recently invited to perform at the 2020 International Trombone Festival in Osaka, Japan. Unfortunately, the performance was canceled. We did, however, have two performances at the 2019 International Trombone Festival in Muncie, Indiana, several performances at the Big 12 Trombone Conference, performances at Trombonanza in Argentina, and were invited to perform in Chile. All of these performances had no out-of-pocket costs for the students. Now for the video. Is broken down into four sections. This intro, practice tips and techniques by myself, a breakdown of Etude 1 by Dr. Martinez, a breakdown and performance of Etude 2 by Dr. Martinez, and a breakdown and performance of Etude 3 by myself. Here are some general practice tips. A longer version of this presentation is available at my website, or you can email me for the link. General practice tips. Be deliberate, have a plan, and schedule times for regular practice sessions. Focus on what you need to work on in both fundamental sessions as well as when you practice the etudes. Only playing what you do well won't help you grow as a musician. Put your phone on Do Not Disturb or airplane mode. The Insta can wait. Mental focus will wane after 24 minutes of intense concentration. A 6-minute break will do wonder for concentration and is scientifically proven to help with focus. Slow practice makes fast progress. When practicing, alternate between small chunks of 1 to 2 measures and larger sections of 8+ measures. When practicing the small sections, be sure to put them back in music context. Record yourself regularly to assess your progress and focus your efforts for the next practice session. And from Aristotle, if we are what we repeatedly do, excellence is not a virtue, it is a habit. Some common practice problems. Practice problems can be usually broken up into 3 major areas. It can be a musical error, a mechanical error, or a mental error. For musical errors, they can be rhythmic, having to do with the tempo, oral, having to do with the ability to sing or hear the next pitch, or have to do with the clarity of concept. Perhaps the player is unable to audiate an articulation, a dynamic change, or something specific about the style. For mechanical errors, they can be related to posture, tension, and breathing issues, or something to do with the instrument. Maybe a misunderstanding of how the instrument works, or the instrument could be in a state of disrepair or low quality. Mental errors usually have to do with focus, emotional state, or the inaccuracy of the student's mental model. Some other practice pitfalls. You are what you repeat, so if you put garbage in, you're going to get garbage out. When practicing a difficult passage, some students have a mental break when they try to play it in context. This can be from too much segmented practice that did not put the passage into musical context, or too little segmented practice, making it so the errors were random and the mistakes weren't worked out. I like to practice using synthesis, analysis, synthesis, or big picture, little picture, big picture when working through these issues. Also remember that accuracy of repetitions is always better than quantity of repetitions. Here are some practice methods. One of the most common practice methods is chunked practice. This is where you repeat something again and again until it's fixed. It looks something like this. It is effective in helping practice, but unfortunately, the gains are usually lost from day to day. According to scientific study, interleaved practice is actually better for maintaining gains from day to day. It looks something like this. We are alternating between 2 or 3 different segments when practicing. The segments can be up to 5 minutes in order to be most effective. Another method of practice is called chaining. This is done very frequently, and one that I recommend highly is backwards chaining, where you have a goal note that you end on, then you play the note before the goal note and the goal note, and then 2 notes before and 3 notes before. When practicing backwards like this, you build student confidence and you actually help with retention of material. You can also chain forwards, where you start with 1 note and then play 2 and then play 3. This also works, but sometimes can erode confidence, as you're going from something you know into something you don't, and you may stumble. I also enjoy centering my chaining around a difficult shift or passage I am trying to master. By starting this way, I am able to add a note before and after until I finally iron out all of the issues in the passage. Some other practice methods: variations on material can give a new perspective on a solo, etude, or anything you're practicing. This can be through rhythmic adjustment in a system I call rhythmatize, which looks something like this when applied to a Clark study. Adding fermatas to note groupings, whether that be the first, second, or third of the note grouping as you play through. Or alternating between half and full speed regularly, something like 1 measure at half speed and the next measure at full speed. You could also vary it by changing the articulations, changing a slur to a staccato, or playing the entire passage glissed. You could also change the keys and the octave displacement. Any of these practice methods can give you a new perspective on whatever you're working on and help make it easier to perform later. Also note, there have been many recent studies proving that mental practice is almost as effective as physical practice, and when combined together, both are superior to either in isolation. Some methods of mental practice for the musician include oral practice, where you sing or try to audiate the material; visualization, where you visualize the environment or the performance itself; and kinesthetic practice, which can be the motions of practice, moving the slide, blowing air, moving valves, all in time. Here is some recommended reading: some general books on focus, habit, and learning, some books on mental focus, and some books on musical practice. For more information, please feel free to send me an email. Thank you so much.